On today's episode, I'm so excited because I'm going to be taking a look at two Final Fantasy classics from the PlayStation, remastered for the Nintendo Switch. We're going to be looking at Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8 remastered. I'm going to talk about why I love these ports and why it's so important to experience this in today's world. Let's jump into it and see why these are so awesome. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nostalgic Nick-Nacks. This is my fuse beading retro gaming YouTube channel. My name is Ryan. I'm happy you're here today. Today I'm going to be looking at, as I said in the intro, two wonderful classic PlayStation JRPGs from the Final Fantasy series. I'm going to be talking about these two juggernauts of Japanese role-playing games, Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8, the twin pack for the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to tell you all about it and talk about why these games are so important to me. And I'm also going to be taking a moment to look at my originals. I have both Final Fantasy 7 here, and I have Final Fantasy 8. And these are the original black label copies of these games that both me and my sister got upon the release. Very thankful for my wonderful parents. Thank you, Mama and Daddy, for purchasing these for us on Christmas. And they made quite the difference in our lives, just the stories that are in these games. But I'll talk about that a little more in a few minutes. So before we get started with anything, I just want to give a brief overview of what these games are like for anybody who is not familiar with Final Fantasy 7 or 8 or any of the other Final Fantasies. But basically each game is its own story, its own characters, its own problems, its own climaxes, its own ancient stories and lore. And that's what makes Final Fantasy great, because you don't have to play every Final Fantasy to experience these two. Both of these games are great starting points, and actually in the past, in 1997 when Final Fantasy 7 came out, it really was a starting point for so many people, because before then Final Fantasies were not as well known as they were till the big blockbuster hit of Final Fantasy 7. This game was in commercials. This game was all over the place for the new PlayStation that was coming out. And so many people were very interested in it and then proceeded to play it and become hooked on what Final Fantasy is. The Final Fantasy series is all about role-playing and seeing these stories play out in front of you, and also getting to be a part of the action with fantastic battles, beautiful music that's very immersive, some really awesome soundtracks, and great characters, character development, as you see throughout the whole story. Just play the games and experience them, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, as I said in the beginning, I did experience these games back when they were released. We actually played Final Fantasy 4 and then Final Fantasy 6, and then went to the PlayStation and bought a PlayStation for Final Fantasy 7 because we love these stories so much. And both me and my sister knew that this was going to be an experience that would be like nothing else. And so we played these games, really enjoyed them, and so many memories wrapped up in this time with these two games, in particular Final Fantasy 7, experiencing that 3D world for the first time, with these new polygons and pre-rendered backgrounds, world maps, vehicles that you would ride around in, and just the emotion that was told in this story. We didn't care about the blocky characters because we actually were seeing these characters for the first time, and they just were etched into our memory and we really were immersed into that world. So with these titles, they actually added some quality of life features. So you can make the battles very quick, pressing that speed up button, which is very common in a lot of remasters now, if you're familiar. But you could also speed up how fast you walk around the place, which, believe me, it is so much quicker and it's easier to get around. I love the way these games looked originally, and I just wanted a way to play them on modern portable system like the Nintendo Switch. It is very much needed and very convenient, and that's the biggest takeaway here, is that if you want to experience these two great JRPGs conveniently, play them portably, get them on the Switch, you won't regret it. Alright, so that's enough talking from me. Let's go ahead and go into the unboxing and see what these games look like, and especially the originals that I have. Alright everybody, so here is the twin pack, and you can see the top shows the logo from Final Fantasy VII, and the bottom, of course, is the logo for Final Fantasy VIII. We turn it over to the back, and there is a very tiny description for Final Fantasy VII and VIII here. It's so sad, as I've said before, how much this stuff takes of the box. It takes up all of this, and it doesn't say much at all. I really wish it was not there, but alas, it is, and we must move on. So you open it up, and there's nothing inside. There's nothing exciting to look at there, but you can see there's our case that you can stand up and enjoy. Of course, I have my handy dandy case here of all of my Switch games, which is awesome. I highly recommend. But here you can see I've got all of my Final Fantasies up here. And here is the tiny cart. It is absolutely amazing to me that both of these games can fit on this cart. I know they're not that big, but back in 1997 and 98, these games seemed very massive. And now it's on a tiny little cart that is as big as my fingertip, as big as my thumbprint. I can't get over it. So that's the unboxing for this one. Let's take a look at the originals. Now here are the originals, much more substantial than the little box, but you can see this one has 3 discs, and there is the back. And look at how beautiful this back looks. It's so sad that these modern boxes have all of this stuff taking up half of the box, and there's no room for artwork. It's just incredible to me in such a bad way that they're not doing that. They're not putting the artwork. Look at how beautiful this looks here. Here's Final Fantasy VIII in the back of it. And this game was so massive that you had 4 discs on it. And one of the big reasons why you had 4 discs on this one was because of the soundtrack. Both of them, really, the cinematics and the soundtrack made these very expansive and take up a lot of memory. And one of the big reasons why they did not put these on Nintendo's next generation console, the Nintendo 64, at the time, was because it just couldn't handle it. It couldn't handle it. So let's go ahead and break open Final Fantasy VII. And by the way, when we saw this case in the Babbage's, which was kind of like an EB Toys in the mall in North Carolina when I was growing up, we saw the back of this, and you see these screenshots like, holy moly, what is going on here? This looks fantastic. And you see the quotes here. It just looks so cool and so premium. It was a different experience altogether. You can't replicate that now. Whatever you do, it's so hard to get back to that. Now, unfortunately, there are a couple of cracks in the jewel case here, but could get that repaired eventually. But you know, this is the original. So you open it up and you get a miraculous thing. You get a disc, but look at this. It's an instruction booklet with wonderful art. This brings me back. Anytime I look through these, I remember the car ride home from there. It was about an hour drive back home. And I would look through the books. And we got these games actually on Christmas morning, so didn't have to go through that drive, but I smell this now, and I smell the paper and how the paper smells, and it brings me back. I mean, look at these polygons. Look at these polygons here. Incredible. Oh, so good. And they didn't even have Sephiroth's sprite there. They just had his picture. So much mystery in that. Look at that. What a great picture. Oh, not going to go through the whole thing here, but wow. So cool. It gave you everything you needed. It was an instruction manual, a little guide to help you through the first part of the game, tell you all the important things that you need to know. Look at that. You would look at this and say, well, what is that for? And what is that called? And look, it's a submarine. Am I going to get to ride that? Just incredible. And the credits and, so cool. They even have a little guide here for the first part of the game. And then a little warning with Barrett shooting, pointing his gun arm at you. Very cool. And they even included other games that they're going to have coming out, or coming soon from Squaresoft. At the time, if you didn't know, this was called Squaresoft, not Square Enix. So still two separate companies, but these are games to come. Oh, so cool. I love it. And you could even see the back of it all together, one picture. Aerith looking at the airship there. So cool. I could gush about this all day. But there's disc 1. You turn in here, you have disc 2 and disc 3. If you look behind here, there's Sephiroth waiting in the fire. Oh, so good. So good. All right, let's move on to Final Fantasy VIII. So, similar experience here. You look off to the back, and this was the follow-up to the multi-million-dollar seller, million copies, Final Fantasy VII. What a blockbuster. And did Final Fantasy VIII live up to it? Did it rise to the occasion? I actually think yes. I remember seeing my sister play through this one and just enjoying every moment. It was very different from the first one, but it had its own thing going on, and I think that is so valuable. Here's disc 1. You have Squall's picture there, and a super nice instruction manual here. And then you have disc 2, Renoa, and then you have Leon there, and then you have Sephiroth. And they look so great. These discs are in such great shape. But there is Edea. You can't do this. The companies just don't do this stuff today. I really wish they did. They actually graduated from that first one, and they include 2 manuals. And they have a full manual for a mini walkthrough, and then you have the regular one here. But see all the characters once again. incredible. I keep saying the word incredible, but these really were incredible times to experience these games. We had not seen anything the likes of these games before, and it's amazing looking back at it. And these games still hold up. These classics still engage my imagination in a way that few other games really do. So there is that amazing looking ship there. It's really cool. Love it. And here's the mini walkthrough. The way that Squaresoft really took their time, and with all these materials, just something you wouldn't see today. And it's sad, but you know, looking back at it, it brings me great joy to see what they did put into these games. And look at these. These are the action figures, and I actually had these. Both me and my sister had these action figures, as well as the Final Fantasy VII ones. And I wish that we still had them, but you know what? Those things happen. You give things away, and then you look back at it later and say, why did I give those figures away? But you know, it's okay. Maybe I'll come across them in the future. But look, here's some upcoming games. We have Chocobo's Dungeon 2. We have Chocobo Racing. I remember playing both of those. Then we had the Final Fantasy Anthology series with some new cutscenes from Final Fantasy VI, and then Saga Frontier 2, which was just remastered for the Switch. Got to jump into that one. Fantastic. What can I say? This was a great time to be alive. Well, that's it for this unboxing and look at Final Fantasy 7 and 8. And if looking at these brought you some great nostalgia, let me know down below. And also let me know if this look at the classics, these original boxes, really did make you interested in the games and playing them for the first time. Let me know that as well. I do want to know if you're interested, or if you've never played them in your life. They're great games that need to be experienced. The graphics are old, but you know what? That's okay. Sometimes games just have to be taken in on the fact that the stories are wonderful, the gameplay is great, and the graphics are charming. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and looking back at Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII and really thinking about how great and charming these games were on the PlayStation. I love looking back and seeing so many moments of nostalgia, but I really think these graphics do work well today. Yeah, they're a little bit out of date, but they're still really great. And I think it's important to play these games and really enjoy those graphics again. I highly recommend these two games, if anything, to educate you on what things were like back then. And if you're somebody who was around back then, like I was, then it's a great way to play these games very conveniently on your Switch in portable mode. It's an excellent experience. If you enjoyed this content today and you want to see more game reviews and more nostalgic memories, then please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Also, like this video. I appreciate it, and it goes a long way as I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and please leave me suggestions as to what you would like me to talk about. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. I pray that you have a fantastic day, and until next time, keep being awesome and keep gaming.